Man, again? No, did anyone hear anyone else?
I didn't hear anybody else.
Okay, I didn't hear anybody,
but I did clap, so that's...
Yeah, no, it works out. I did the last one, and it was all there.
Yeah, there's a visible waveform in my audio file, so you'll be able to see it.
Actually, when I did the last one, I found out Brad was lying. He didn't clap.
I did.
No, I'm just kidding.
The waveform, it's there.
The waveform,
Danny!
The waveform's there! And it's turning the frickin' frogs gay.
That's for my solo podcast where I'm just yelling.
And how long is that one, Brad?
2 hours minimum. It's just nothing but UFO talk.
Hell yeah!
You know, Cleveland is a hotspot for UFOs. Ohio in general, but especially Cleveland.
And drug addiction.
Yeah, that too.
And astronauts.
Unrelated.
Shut the fuck
up,
astronauts.
And astronauts.
Listen.
That's true. We do have the most astronauts, and I think the second most presidents. But I think that's unfair because Virginia got a unfair head start.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah.
So Twilight.
I forgot my idea for a cold open over all the
Seriously?
UFO talk.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Play the theme song.
All right.
Also, you'll probably hear Ezra in the background because Andrea's gone, so that's all right.
I didn't think we were actually recording yet.
Oh, were you not recording?
No, I'm recording, but like Wait, I didn't think that we were like actually in the paint yet.
That was my idea for a cold open, was just get you guys to randomly mumble and say, I forgot my idea.
All right, bud.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say I wouldn't think we were either, but then we had a pretty good conversation, and then Vaughn forgot his idea, so now that gets to be the cold open.
Okay,
well, that was the idea.
I have an actual cold open.
Your idea was to say I forgot the cold open?
Yeah.
Wait,
how is that an idea?
Yeah, because I was like, I knew you guys were gonna fucking like go on a tangent about something, and then I could just like at the end of it.
You said that you were like brought up like I have an idea for a cold open, and I was like, aw. I wanted to do the cold open.
I mean, if you have a better one, go ahead. I know it's a lame idea for a cold open.
Wait, no, because this is all in here, because this is gold. So
no, it's not.
Beck, I want to hear. No, I want to hear. I definitely want your cold open, but also Vaughn. So your idea for cold open was to say, "I have an idea for cold open," knowing we would then go on a tangent about something else, and then say you forgot your idea.
Yes.
Wow.
I hate you.
Fucking 200 IQ plays. I love it. All right. All right, play the theme song, and then we're going to do another cold open and play the theme song again. All right, Beck, go.
Okay. For those of you binging this, I'd say The Lighthouse, still a better love story than Twilight.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's definitely true.
So true.
We got all. Is there cold? Just doing those jokes.
That'd be good. Will Smith and the Mannequin. Will Smith and the Mannequin from I Am Legend. Still a better love story.
Trump and his wife. Still a better love story than Twilight.
Oh, that's contentious.
Which one? So I actually have like notes on shit that I want to talk about this time because
because I did no research.
I would say that I'm probably the only one who knows anything about Twilight.
I know everything about Twilight.
I wanted to start off by getting everybody's thoughts about Twilight, but like from its popularity, like circa 2009, where were you guys? Were you like anti-Twilight, pro-Twilight, probably a bunch of antis?
I was gonna say, how old was I then?
2009,
12,
14.
13.
Actually, not that anti-Twilight.
It was 7th
because
grade.
The only thing I knew about Twilight was that my mom had read the books and really liked them, and when I first saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, Mom, they're making your books into a movie! Isn't that awesome?" And she was like very unexcited about it for some reason. I thought that was odd, but
I have a lot of feelings about Twilight, and I've never seen or read any of it.
as most, men who were teenagers when it happened, especially pre-teenagers.
Alright, first off, rude. I was referring to the fact that none of it's negative. Well, maybe not a lot. Maybe saying I have a lot of feelings is building myself up. So, from what I know about Twilight, is, first off, I have no contention with the fact that vampires don't burn in the sun. For God's sake, they're fictional creatures.
Yeah.
So, you can create whatever fucking rules you want. And the fact that they're actually, like, from what I've been told, they're, like, crystalline in a way.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking rad.
Actually?
Yeah?
Oh,
that
boy.
was the joke.
Yeah, they're kind of like marble, but like glittering marble. It's good. In my opinion.
I really like that.
I think it's really neat.
Yeah, I don't think the sparklies are bad.
I really like unique takes on Fae. And yes, I'm considering Vampire Fae.
Actually? I don't know, they probably are.
I thought that was cool. I like that the werewolves aren't really werewolves. They're more like they are lycanthrope in nature, but they can, at will, from what I've gathered.
Yeah, and they're not, humanoid wolves. They're just
They're
wolves.
just full
They're just giant wolves. Yeah. I
also really dig, and I understand this was done horribly, I really dig the Native American aspect, because that kind of cultures always have, skinwalkers and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that all the werewolves are just, this from a specific tribe, right?
Yes, the Quileute tribe, and I'm actually going to go on a bit of a tangent here.
Right.
The Quileute tribe is, heavily featured in Twilight. They do have a mythology on wolves, but Stephanie Meyer kind of took what she wanted, left what she didn't, and changed their culture a lot. She has not given assent to the Quileute tribe, which is why I'm going to do a little plug here for mthg.org. Their fund for moving to higher ground. They are kind of getting flooded out because of global warming, so they have a fund for moving to higher ground, and that's mthg.org.
We'll put that website in the description. Also, all of the revenue from the fake ad that will be in the middle of this episode is going to go to that charity.
I was trying so hard not to make an Obi-Wan joke there.
I don't think I understand.
Sounds like you failed, bud.
But...
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez.
I'm cutting that one.
Yup.
Or not. That might be canceled. Yeah, I feel like the Native American stuff seems interesting if you don't know any of that part of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
So that's a bummer.
Exactly. Which is not.
And
on
I will
you.
say that the Quileute tribe is kind of split on their opinions on Twilight. There is a large sect of them that, they get tourism revenue from Twilight, and quite a bit of it, and they get a chance to educate about their culture, which they wouldn't have had, otherwise.
Right.
But also, it's re-education
Yeah.
that they shouldn't have had to do.
Yeah.
I've also heard that the dad's a cool dude, so I like that. I like cool dads.
Team Charlie, bud.
Cool dads.
Vaughn, you should specify that the only reason you know this is from the video done by Cosmonaut Picture Hour.
Actually, I've heard it beforehand, but he's the first one that
Everybody's Team Charlie.
I've heard a lot of people
enough.
talk about Charlie, but the Cosmonaut
Except
video
for the
made me
real
realize
OGs.
how cool he is.
He does seem
The
very cool.
real bomb-ass babes. The Team Alice stands.
Ooh.
And the last thing,
The goth girl? I don't know. We'll find out.
She's kind of she's like a fairy girl. She's like Manic Pixie Dream Girl. She's Edward's sister.
Yeah, I'm on her side already then.
yeah.
Yes.
I was actually that goes into one of the last two things, and next thing I know is all the girls are very pretty, and I like that. And the last thing,
and Robert Pattinson's very pretty, and I like that.
Actually, that was the last thing. And Robert Pattinson's pretty, and he's in it, and he hates Twilight more than anyone I've ever heard about. So I think that's hilarious.
That's true.
But you know what? It gave him a start, so we have that to thank Twilight for.
If it wasn't for Twilight, he would not be able to jerk off on so many movies.
Yeah, and we would not be able to
right.
do 3 episodes in a row on him. Put in your votes for what the next episode is, or, maybe you've already listened to it.
Spooky. All right.
By the way, we never got Brad's thoughts on the movie, so let's go ahead and go to Brad's one-word answer on that. Brad, what do you think?
I don't know.
Cool.
No, I'm kidding.
No, 3 words.
3 whole words.
Too many words.
Yeah, so in 2009, I guess I wasn't really... I mean, I knew that Twilight was popular, but I'm not really a huge fan of the fantasy genre in general.
That's fair.
So I just didn't really pay any attention to it. I knew it was popular, but as for like my direct interaction with like the IP, nothing. So I'm definitely kind of.
We found the only 3 men in 2009 who didn't really mind it, which is funny because I was staunchly anti-Twilight.
Because you were the 4th man that does hate it.
Yes. I was pretty deep into not like other girls.
Yeah.
So yeah. But
I was gonna say I think the only reason I didn't hate it is because I don't remember anyone that I know being into it. Then again, I don't know that I had any friends who were girls at that time. And so like I'm sure I would have been cringy.
Danny confirmed for
funny,
incel in middle school.
I only
Absolutely.
had male friends
Absolutely.
one male friend who loved Twilight, and my sister loved Twilight.
Okay.
Which, I tried to read it, I got about half a page in, and I didn't like the prose, it was garbage. So I stopped reading it, I thought it was boring, and
Our
then,
English major.
Yeah. And then, several years later, about 5 years later, the same friend who I knew that really liked Twilight, we had an agreement where he would read Harry Potter and I would read Twilight. He never read Harry Potter, but I read Twilight. And I actually really liked it.
Oh, you did? I thought you never read it all the way, because I thought I only ever heard the part of you getting halfway through a book and then saying, fuck this.
No. I got like halfway through one page and then I read the entire thing. And I did love it. Now, there were definitely points where I would read a sentence or a paragraph and I'd go, oh, that's so fucking stupid. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it was still entertaining in its stupidity. And there were some parts that were actually deeply poignant. That, there's one description in the second book that sticks with me to this day. So, yeah, I am pro Twilight.
All right, interesting.
Oh, nice.
What are there any specifics on the books that you actually, because you say you enjoyed it, it wasn't that it was so bad it's good, are there, right? Is there specific things you liked about it?
It was good.
Mm-hmm. This is your cats, I see.
Yeah. I think that we're only covering the first movie, correct?
As of right
yeah,
now.
I think that was the plan. I'm sure we'll get to them all eventually.
I think that, so far as the first, book and the first movie's garbage. Super awkward. It's
awesome.
it's gonna be a slog.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
have
it's
fun.
gonna be rough. But the first book is just kind of dumb fun. There's nothing, super poignant about it. The second one, Edward leaves her and she goes through a months-long depression. And Stephanie Meyer really hit the nail on the head with how I experienced depression.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was meaningful to me at that time.
Very awesome. Sorry, what'd you say about the first book? Did you say the first book is also bad?
It's dumb fun. It's nothing horrible, but it's nothing to really, it's nothing to write home about. I think that the only reason why it really got big was because of the later books.
Yeah, which I hear get fucking wild towards at least the very, very end. I makes me want to do the whole series just because of the ridiculous things that happen at the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. It does escalate quite far.
Hey yo, Danny from the future here. Just want to give a heads up that we're about to spoil the main climax of the final Twilight movie. If you want to skip that, jump to 19 minutes and 30 seconds. If you're at all worried about spoilers, and you might want to keep your options open because I think you'll be surprised by our verdict, then skip to 19 minutes, 30 seconds. Alright, back to the show.
Isn't it true, and this, you can tell me if this is false, that there's a giant battle sequence, and then he really just nah, it didn't happen?
Yes, because there was no battle kind of situation. The last book is half them getting married in their honeymoon and them finally fucking, and the other half, the latter half, is getting a bunch of allies and training and getting really ready for this giant battle that's meant to happen. And then, when the battle is meant to happen, one of the characters shows up and kind of talks, vampire powers, the main guy of the other faction that they were meant to be fighting, and he's like, okay, bye, and there was no fight.
The fuck, that's so lame. I would be so mad. Why didn't they just do that in the first place?
What?
Why didn't they just start with that? Or, what are these... How is his vampire powers gonna they're not gonna come back eventually?
What do you mean?
Mind control him? You said use vampire powers to talk to
him. One of them can tell the future.
Okay.
And one of them can also transmit thoughts through contact. And so one of them is like, hey, I'm not, an evil vampire baby. I'm a totally different kind of vampire baby that isn't going to kill the world. And then another one comes in and is like, hey, if you fight us, you will die. And so he's like, ooh, I don't want to do that. I'm going to leave now. Bye. And in the movie...
He turns into a swarm of bats and flies back to Transylvania.
Yes.
And then we get a whole other set of kids movies.
It's funny because he does live in the Vatican. This evil vampire man.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Vampire Pope.
In the movie, they take that little section of the one who can see the future and takes what she saw if the fight had happened, and it actually acts it out. So they show the dream sequence of the fight. Yes, but they don't make it clear that it's a dream sequence until afterwards. So you fully think that suddenly there's a fight and most of your favorite characters are dying in front of you.
All three of them.
Ooh.
No.
I kind of want to watch that because I don't know if I like that or hate that.
I loved it. I saw it in theaters.
That sounds pretty good.
And I had little crescent marks in my palms because the second that the fight started, I was instantly geared up, messed around by this shit.
That sounds way better than just getting to it and having them do seeing them be in a vision sequence and then the fight doesn't happen. It's definitely better to show something. And I think showing it in that way makes it definitely interesting. You get to have the cool fight and then in the end have a happy ending anyways. I kind of like that kind of stuff.
Honestly, who I would probably have been very upset with the characters that dying.
Yeah.
And I was kind of going to bring up that we're kind of in a Twilight Renaissance, or we've just exited a Twilight Renaissance, where all of the people who were both very against it and very for it are coming back to it and being like, oh yeah, this both wasn't as bad as we remember and is bad for other reasons.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Did you ever read Midnight Sun?
No, I got a few chapters in, but then I kind of got into a reading slump. I should have read it for this. I might do it for the afterword.
For those who don't know, Midnight Sun is a retelling of the first book from the vampire's perspective, correct?
Yes, from Edward's perspective, which the very first page of it, he
Robert
calls...
Pattinson's perspective.
Yes, he calls all of the men in his school, in their high school, sheep-like males.
Beta males.
Yeah.
Beta cucks.
Beta cucks is his first words. Just like that was Robert Pattinson's first words, oddly enough, too.
Yeah.
I can't wait for him to get to the part where he jerks off.
I can't wait.
Oh, that's actually only in Eclipse.
What?
No, it's a joke, Vaughn.
Look, I don't know. Look, I know that he had to warm up his balls to have sex. So
what? No.
I was told they had to conceive the child in warm water because his body was too cold to produce sperm.
No.
This is what I was told
the
by
child
Twilight
was
fan.
an accident. They did not plan on the child.
I was purposely misfed information.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Look, with all the weird shit I hear about this, that's why I would believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Brad, how do you think this movie's gonna hold up?
Well, probably not good.
Not good.
Yeah, because I'm sure that there are people that are going back and reappraising, the books and the movies. There seems to be this weird contingent of people, just on Twitter, or social media that are like, "Hey, remember that movie from your childhood? Let's go back and reevaluate that, and claim that it's actually a good movie." There are people that I've seen a lot of people defending the work of Stephen Sommers, who made the original Mummy trilogy, or the two Mummy movies rather, and the Scorpion King. He directed those. Also G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra. That hey, these movies are good, and then they're not.
But they're not.
You go back and watch the Mummy, it's not good. So
I will say that
So
the Twilight movies are not good, or at least the first one isn't.
Okay.
It's got some neat cinematography, but the editing and the direction of the actors is so awkward. Shots are held for too long, and it's just them gazing longingly at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's most of the movie.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be my biggest problem with it, is that they just look fucking weird and acting very weird, and
yeah,
I think it doesn't show off Robert Pattinson's beautiful acting or good looks.
Or Kristen Stewart.
I do love Kristen Stewart, and that might just be because I'm gay. She's big by energy, and I love her for it. But she's not very good in the Twilight movies. That is to say that she's not pleasant to watch in Twilight. She plays Bella perfectly.
Okay. I will say we wanted to have my mom on this episode, but couldn't due to her vacation. But the one thing she did tell me was that she thought the casting in this movie was entirely perfect, except for Edward. She thinks Edward is the one thing that was wrong.
Well, your mom's wrong.
Honestly,
yeah,
I 100% agree with the fact that the cast is perfect. I don't think that, Robert Pattinson was a bad choice for Edward. He's got that, weird old soul kind of energy.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah.
Got that wiki energy?
Sorry, that what?
Wiki.
Oh.
Lighthouse Keeper.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It's a callback.
It is a callback.
He's also got that kind
of...
He's kind of got that creepy energy.
You sure do.
I think this movie is going. I think I'm gonna end up coming out of this thinking it's underrated, just because I can't imagine it possibly being as bad as it's made out to be. Which we haven't really discussed how its like overall rating is specifically,
That's
but
true.
I mean, it's Twilight. Our jokes at the beginning are literally what a good amount of people who have never seen the movie think is
Yeah.
that, oh, this is literally the worst thing ever made, the worst love story ever told. Which might be
I
true,
would
but
say that
I can't imagine it actually as
the
bad
people
as
who
that.
are against Twilight, they do think it's the worst thing ever. The people who are pro Twilight, I think, don't even really like the first movie. It's too badly edited, too awkward. I think that their love for the characters from the books kind of held them over until the movies got better.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what do you think the chances of getting a Snyder cut of Twilight are that fixes it?
Zack Snyder is confirmed to
What
direct
are they going
Twilight
to add?
2.
More longing gazes?
More slow-mo.
Yeah, no. You said the editing is bad, so I figured Zack Snyder.
It's just going to be a whole movie based on the baseball scene.
Good.
I mean,
It's
as
just
long
going to
as
be
Listen,
about the
baseball
MLB
scene
of
is
vampires.
Very good.
That's what I've heard. It's just going to be
MLB
comedy drama about a vampire baseball league.
Hell yeah.
as long as they got who's on second or who's on first bit, I'm happy.
Well, they're going to do the bit, but they're going to use mirrors, and they're going to literally not know who's on first.
I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that Twilight vampires
The
don't
mirrors
have reflections.
I feel like you should have kept that one.
That makes sense.
I'll be happy with the Snyder cut of Twilight as long as they leave in the scene of Edward saying that we live in a society.
Hell yeah.
I'll be happy as long as there's the scene where Edward says, "I'll fucking kill you" to Jacob.
I'm almost certain that happens at some point.
Oh, God.
Not the fucking, but he definitely,
Wants to kill him.
yes. Which is actually, a lot of people bring up, like, Edward's abusive, he's so controlling, but honestly, he isn't really that much. Because, like, he is, like, most people are like, he's alienating her, but at no point he alienates her. He even, like, Jacob in one of the books sexually assaults her.
Ooh,
What?
Yeah. A lot of people forget that because they remove it from the movies, obviously, but he does that. And, Edward, like, goes up to him and he's just like, listen, Bella told me not to kill you. If she changes her mind, you're dead.
Yeah, you better hope she
Like,
doesn't.
you can still hang around her, but, like, because she wants you
Fucking kill
there.
you.
But I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Which is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. I agree. I do have to say, since, Beck, you said that Team Jacob, Team Edward is not that big of a thing in the first movie, how about we just open the floor up to a different question? Which is, would you rather be a werewolf or a vampire?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Vampire.
Brad?
Probably.
Brad wasn't paying attention.
I was. Probably werewolf.
Furry?
Okay, all right. I was set up for that.
All right, I think the big's
I had
done.
that one
I'm pretty sure that was the whole reason Vaughn wanted to do this, is to
Oh.
call the first person that said werewolf furry.
But honestly, like, if it's like from what I've gathered about the Twilight ones, where it's like turn into a wolf at will, werewolf. Otherwise,
That'd be pretty
vampire. Because I do
Okay,
not want to
alright.
lose all control during a full
But
moon.
the
Randomly.
lore. You don't know the lore, dude. The werewolves.
Are you gonna tell
the
us the lore?
werewolves. They're only showing up now because the Cullens are back in town. They kind of become werewolves, the boys of the Quillian
So you're
tribe.
saying
When there are vampires around, they can all read each other's thoughts while they're in wolf form. They have horrible anger issues after they start to turn. And they have this thing called imprinting, where sometimes they'll just, like, look at somebody and they'll be like, oh, you're my soulmate now. What? You don't want to be my soulmate? Sucks for you. Now, the vampires are really cool, because before you turn into a vampire, there's usually something, like, intrinsic about you that's, like, deeply a part of you, and then when you turn into a vampire, it becomes a superpower.
Huh, I wonder what my power would be.
That's a good question.
I can like even more things. So you're saying that the only reason these werewolves are being able to turn into werewolves is because the boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town, yes.
Honestly, that's actually really cool. I like the idea that it comes off more as like a, not predatory, more of like a defensive trait.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, these vampires are here. We need to defend our land. Wolf out, boys.
Vaughn, I'm sorry. I had to go get Ezra M&M's. I ran back to tell you that joke was very good, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate you too, Danny. I appreciate you telling me that you appreciate that joke.
Also, I think I would probably go vampires because I've never really had much interest in werewolves.
Honestly, I could see the appeal of both, like, from a generic standpoint, like, not even just this lore, but definitely, I have to go vampire, because I'm already a night person, and I hate being out in the sun, so not much would change.
Yeah. I just want superpowers, man.
I really want to know what my superpower about my intrinsic value would be.
Like Bella's, one of the reasons why Edward is so, kind of obsessed with Bella is that he can't read her thoughts. He's a thought reader, and he kind of has a background noise of everybody's thoughts all the time, but he can't read Bella's.
I like that.
And that's because, like,
that's
her
really
intrinsic value is that she's a shield. She kind of has the ability to block herself from things. And when she gets turned into a vampire, she can kind of utilize that shield to protect other people.
That's so cheesy, and I love it.
It is good.
I don't think it's bad. I really like the mind reading, and like this is the one person he can stand to be around and can actually like have not like it's an interesting thought to think of, like, what if you knew everybody's thoughts all the time? Like,
yeah.
I imagine no matter how close or friendly someone was, it would kind of get unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we want to know what that's like, there's a movie that just came out with Daisy Ridley.
Right.
That we can all watch.
I heard it wasn't very good.
Oh no, I knew it wasn't going to be good.
What is it called?
Can't remember.
It
was stuck in development hall.
Are you thinking of Chaos Walking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a great title.
That's a Doug Liman joint, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that's him. Well, I'm excited to watch this movie because I've always, like, was never one to watch it because, like, my whole family was obsessed with it, and I was in that phase of I gotta be opposite of my family, so like they watch it and be like, no, I'm not gonna watch it because I'm not into that stuff. And then I go in my room and read Blood and Chocolate, which is a romance story about werewolves. I'm like, but this is different because it's for adults.
Before we end, I just wanted to make a callback to like 15 minutes ago, Brad, when you were talking about like the kind of thing going on of people like digging up old movies and then claiming they're much better than you remember. Do you think that's people actually watching these movies and like maybe looking at them through a lens of some kind and and actually thinking they're good, or is it just like them having nostalgia and remembering parts of the movie and they're like, yeah, this was great because I remember it from a kid?
I think it's mostly nostalgia because anytime this ever comes up in conversation, I always urge people to go back and watch Space Jam.
Space Jam has always been bad.
Yeah, that movie's really terrible.
Hey guys, it's content.
Yeah, I was gonna say this sounds really good because I've never seen it either. And Vaughn, you said Space Jam's always been bad, but I've never heard anything bad about it except from
Space Jam is horrible, but fucking amazing.
Much like Twilight.
Well, there we go.
It is a continuous ad for Nikes and McDonald's.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm about it.
Oh yeah, no, it's so fucking bad. I think the reason why I personally think I love it is because I find it so bad that it transcends so bad it's good to so bad it's amazing. And that's why I'm excited for Space Jam 2 Electric Boogaloo, because it looks like it will be worse.
Okay.
Yeah, I also saw a meme of LeBron, and it's like, how are you going to be in Space Jam 2 but not even make it to the playoffs? And I think that's fucking hilarious.
I do want to say I'm excited. I'm back to Twilight. You know, the thing that we're meant to be talking about. I'm excited to watch it simply because I've been wanting to play the Twilight drinking game for about 5 years. Probably since before I was even able to drink legally. Because, whoo boy.
I've always wanted to play a drinking game for a movie.
Twilight's gonna be it.
I'm down.
Alright, that sounds fun.
Second post will be like, what I can remember from the drinking game.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see about that. And you know what? If it's really that good, that'll be the next podcast. Just drinking games for movies.
I would love a podcast where we just review movies while doing drinking games of them. And look, I don't remember what the fuck happened.
Every episode is, I don't remember that movie. I remember throwing up though.
I remember going to a Walgreens parking lot at 3 a.m. That's a nod to something that happened in real life.
Thanks, On. I think they got that.
But I'm excited to watch it as always with y'all. So,
all right.
I'm not particularly excited, but I will watch it.
Listen, we're 4 very funny people, and I think that we will make our own entertainment during the bad ones.
That's true. I am very excited to watch it with you guys. Brad, and you pumped for this one?
You know, honestly, I'm willing to just dive in headfirst on this.
Yeah.
I'm willing to.
I mean, it can't be worse than Cats, right?
It's not. In my humble opinion.
No, I'm sure we'll all enjoy it more than Cats. You'll all enjoy it more than Cats.
Don't say we all, because you don't count as that.
I think that you would actually enjoy this more than Cats, Danny.
Probably.
All right. So we'll come back at ya, fucking blackout drunk after watching Twilight.
Yeah, because as soon as we're done with the movie, we're hitting record.
Yep.
Oh God.
Get that content right there.
Hell yeah, brother.
And now a word from our watcher. So we want to take a look at all the reviews that we got from our soul fan, my mom, and see whether or not we think each episode lives up to the hype. So starting off with, is Citizen Kane overrated? Our very first episode. My mom commented on YouTube, "Very well done. I learned a lot about the making of the movie and backgrounds of those associated with making the movie. Your opinions were educated and fun. Your audience might appreciate the fact that you are all very young and many of your peers may not know of this film. Looking forward to more episodes." What do you guys think?
Very kind. Very optimistic.
Very optimistic.
I'm gonna give that a solid 3 out of 3 comments.
I don't think we're rating the comment.
Oh,
do we think our episode lived up to the comment? We can rate my mom's comments.
I was going to call that comment underrated because it's really nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Next one. Is Cats bad or is the internet just mean? My mom commented, "Fun time. I think you saved a few hours of my life by making sure I don't watch this movie. Thanks."
All right.
Clever,
that is perfectly rated.
Concise.
I'm going to say that this comment is overrated just because I think this is our worst episode. Mostly
agree.
because I have to listen to my own pompous ass bitch about how everyone doesn't like cats enough.
It's fine. I have to listen to my own pompous ass bitch about how everybody likes cats too much.
That's true. So we hate it from both ends here.
Yeah.
I'm going to
There
say
were
it's
no
overrated
winners
because I'm a
here.
dog person.
Because you're a dog person. All right. So I think this is our worst episode because I had to listen to myself, specifically the part where I was bitching about all the reviewers that don't know how to review movies because they put cat puns in their reviews, and I was really mad about that for some reason.
No, it was clever.
I think this is Brad's worst episode because he didn't like musicals, if I remember correctly.
That's true. He did not.
Yeah, I spent like I think what's the runtime? Hour 50? Just basically an hour and 50 straight minutes with sitting there in silence with my head in my hands.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then our most previous episode, Does the
previous.
Lighthouse Shine Bright? The Lighthouse episode. My mom comments, very interesting, period.
I think that she...
Underrated, short and
Yeah.
sweet. Love it.
I will say I talked to her in person, and she said it was really good, and I was like, oh, you didn't mind how much we talked about Robert Pattinson masturbating? And she said, no, that was fine, and you said fuck a lot less, so I really appreciate that. So
Okay, but like when I saw her recently, she said, "You've talked enough about Robert Pattinson masturbating. Move on."
that's true. She did say that earlier.
Yeah.
I think she's concerned about you. Okay, now that you say that, I think that's what my mom wanted to talk to you about, Beck. I think she thinks you have an issue, so... careful if you go to my mom's house. It might be an intervention.
About Robert Pattinson masturbating.
Yeah, she does think Robert Pattinson's... we overrate Robert Pattinson, which is absurd. So I have gone to a 2 out of 10 on my mom because she thinks Robert Pattinson's overrated. But yeah, so if you go to my mom... If my mom invites you over, it might be for an intervention, so watch out.
Robert Pattinson intervention.
I think when we were talking about it, you did say, we were like, well, what instances of masturbation do we send this to? And you said, just send it to me. And
Okay,
so-
but that was a joke, and I feel like it was pretty
was a good
obviously a joke.
All right.
I think it's debatable. All right, and that was... What did we name this segment?
Now a word from our viewer.
That was Now a Word from Our Viewer. That wasn't what it was called.
It was Watcher.
So, we're back. That was a movie. In fact, it was Robert Pattinson's first American role. So, that's something special.
We know how much the fans love the Pattinson facts.
I love Pattinson facts, but joining us for the second half of this podcast is Andrea. Say hello, Andrea.
Hello.
Andrew, what's your experience with Twilight?
Well, it was the first book series I've ever read. Seems how I didn't learn to read till I was in 6th grade. And having Twilight be such an easy read, it was perfect. And as I kept reading more books, I found out it was really bad. So,
It's a good starting point, because if you were to try to read it later like Beck, you wouldn't have been able to make it through.
nope.
What do you think about the movies?
The first one I feel is a pilot, like to a TV show.
Yeah, I think so.
It's, I don't know, rewatching it again, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing like the rest of the series.
No?
No, the rest of the saga I like better.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an intro. Here's your bad guy. Here's your family of vampires. And look, here's a secret wolf section we're going to show you later.
here's a little tool we'll use for later.
Yeah, like Mickey Mouse.
But that tool is Channing Tatum.
Yep.
Is that
No, not Channing Tatum.
No.
Tatum.
No.
fucking
Taylor
Lautner.
Taylor
Lautner.
Lautner. They're all the same. to me.
Lautner.
Fun
Taylor
fact.
Lautner. Here's a little tool we'll
Tatum
use for later.
He pronounces it like Lautner.
That's how he pronounces his own. Oh, he gets his own
Lautner?
name wrong.
Lautner?
Yeah, yeah. It's like
I've never heard that.
It's a soft U.
But yes, I was a Twilight. I had posters. I had all the books. All the books were the movie cover books because, that's when all the books and movies
Yeah.
were big. And now they're big again, thanks to Netflix.
There you go. What team were you on?
Team Edward.
See, I'm team Bella because I'm a real feminist.
I'm Team Alice because
What
I'm
about
a
Team
real
Charlie?
lesbian.
Because I'm a real lesbian. That's good. Team Charlie.
I agree with Beck, though. Alice was best.
Alice is awesome.
So.
Yeah.
She's the best character literally throughout the series.
Yeah, she's awesome. Vaughn, what did you think?
Well, this was my first time encountering anything Twilight. I had just never had it come across my plate while growing up, even though I had friends and family who were very big into Twilight. Just never happened, and I went in thinking, this is going to be bad, because all I've heard is bad things. And I ended up actually enjoying myself. It wasn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah. Brad, what do you think?
Yeah, like I said in the first half, my relationship is kind of similar to Vaughn, where, like, I did not have a pre-existing relationship to these
Yeah, we were all
movies at
teenage boys. We weren't allowed to do that.
Everybody's
Right,
previous, there's a difference because most teenage boys' responses or knowledge of Twilight was all, like, strong and
Memes.
negative.
Yeah. I'm sure ours would have been too in high school. And
Yeah.
Yeah, if you would have asked me at 15 or something like that what I thought, it probably would have been significantly more negative. But
Probably borderline offensive.
oh, absolutely offensive.
But yeah, so I actually, it's kind of hard to sum up how I feel about the movie because, like, you look at it and you're like, okay, this movie isn't that good on its surface.
Yeah.
But you watch it and there's this weird, compelling, like, melodrama element where I'm like, like, it is easy to watch. Like, it just goes down
Yeah.
so smooth, which
That's
is so
the thing,
strange.
is, like, why does Twilight... Sorry. Go on.
No, I was going to say, it's really difficult for me to put my finger on, like, what this thing is that makes this movie easy to watch, but I thought it was okay. Like, you know.
I was going to say, like, because Andrea also said the book was easy to read, and I don't think that it was entirely easy to read because it was, like, you know, middle grade language. I think that it's just, like, a catchy song. Like, you just got...
Something
you can just get into it so easily.
Yeah. Sit down and just read until you're done.
Yeah. It's easy to get into, and I also just can't really pin down why that is.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. I mean, like, so we're recording this now at least a month after we recorded the first part. It's been a very long time.
Danny!
But in that time, we watched...
Suspension of disbelief!
In that time, we watched the first movie, and then a few weeks later, all of us but Brad watched the next two movies in one night. Easy. No problem. Like, and they were... I would say that I think they're all pretty good. So that was... My thoughts on Twilight is I'm mad about how good of a movie it is. That's...
I can get behind that.
Like, it is... I think these are legit pretty good. Like, I agree when I was going into it thinking it's bad. Part of that was the person we both watch, Cosmonaut Variety Hour. He did a little series where he was, like, going through the movies and reviewing them, and a lot of that was him it was his reactions intercut with, like, clips from the movie. And I don't think that's fair to this movie because there's so much stuff that taken out of context is absurd. But I think in context is actually really good. Like, two things that come to mind specifically for me are, like, the part where he first sees Bella and, like, is, like, covering his nose and looks fucking ridiculous, where he's like, oh, I can't smell her scent. It's getting to me. Which, it seems absurd.
It's so pungent.
But, like, it's so pungent. And, like, even when you're watching the movie, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And you're like, Robert Pattinson's a good actor. But, like, I think it's amazing acting. He's playing this vampire who's literally like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking kill this girl. Like, I'm going to run up there and suck her blood. Like, I'm trying everything in his power not to. Which is maybe a weird thing about,
in the Midnight Sun, he actually, like, he does think about that, and he goes through, like, who in the room he has to kill first to not let it get out.
Yep.
Yeah, right? Like,
the order in
like,
which he's going to kill everybody else, so he can stop.
Also, I think reading that the Midnight Sun, so long after the craze, It's really neat.
Yes.
It was so cool to be like, cool, I actually got to go see what he was thinking throughout this whole thing. And
I was just saying, to clarify, this is the book that's the whole same story, but through Edward's
Yes.
perspective. Which, that sounds pretty interesting.
it's cool.
Yeah, he's he looks ridiculous, but in context, it makes sense. That, and also the other one where he's like in the car driving away from the guys that were like giving Bella a hard time, and he's like, "Hey, you need to talk to me, or I'm gonna go back and murder those guys." Like, he's not being an edgy tough guy. He's literally like, if you don't distract me, I'm turning around and running those guys over and fucking murdering them. And you are the only thing that can stop me from that because I can't stop myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like these scenes seem so weird, and like I think that's what makes Robert Pattinson so good is he really committed to it and went all out, and it looks ridiculous out of context, but in context, I think it makes a lot of sense and is actually really well written and really well acted.
So it's funny you bring up like Robert Pattinson acting the role so good because this goes into a point I wanted to bring up. Robert Pattinson wasn't Stephenie Meyer's first choice to play Edward. That honor went to Henry Cavill.
Ooh.
And
Really?
yes. But Henry Cavill was 25 and no longer looked young enough for the role when it started filming. So they went with Robert. And I'm just wondering how different the movie would have been with Cavill. Because, like, if you compare them, like, nowadays, like, have them stand next to each other, two completely different people.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I could
And I
see
think
the look. I
completely
could see the look. I don't
different
know if it'd be able to.
actors. You know,
Yeah.
in the way that they...
Fun.
Right,
Another
yeah.
fun fact. Henry Cavill is his name.
Yeah.
He was actually
Yes.
considered to play Christian Grey too, which is a
Oh, God.
fanfic of Twilight.
Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah, 50 Shades of Grey is a fan fiction of Twilight. And
So
he's gonna play that.
I get that.
That's really
That checks
good.
out.
Yeah.
I guess that checks out.
Man.
Yeah, I wanted to
It's
bring that up to you,
between
see, like,
him,
what your guys'
Charlie Hunnam, and the guy who actually played him, which I can't remember.
Which was the
his
worst
name.
choice.
Yeah, I know.
I don't like it.
Jamie
Yeah.
Dorman,
Yes.
I think his name
That's
is.
who it is. Thank you, Brad.
Sure. Man, that is so weird because, like, Robert Pattinson has a sensitivity
That's
that Henry
exactly,
Cavill does
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. That they would come across the characters
Like, Henry
completely different ways.
Yeah. Henry Cavill is great as Superman, but I just think he would just be
I don't
the
think
wrong
you need to be
choice
real subtle to be
for
Superman.
Yeah.
this role.
You need to be the all-American good boy.
No, you just need to be handsome and jacked.
And Edward is not the all-American good boy.
No, he's not. And I think that's part, like you have the parts where he's, like, reciting poetry and stuff, and, like...
When he
Again.
does Romeo and Juliet in the second movie. Oh, yes.
Yeah, and it
No,
also-
it's Eclipse that he does that. So good.
Yeah, and it all seems silly, but it's like, he's just an English nerd that's been alive for 200 years.
Yep.
Like, it makes sense.
Can
He's just been
verify.
alive too long.
That's what.
Yeah.
That's what we're like, and that's what we would be
Yep.
like if we were 100 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that, like, Danny, you said it during the movie, and I think afterwards as well, that kind of put the movie into different light for me and made me like it so much more. Because I always thought that it was the first movie was bad. But then as you were watching it, you were saying, like, this is awkward and weird, but it's also what these teenagers would be acting like. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. Like,
oh, you're absolutely right. It just doesn't cut out the awkward bits. It's like real
Yeah.
teenagers.
yeah, they're really, like, meeting each other and being awkward high school. Like, you get the awkward high school stuff, and
Yeah.
with all the weird vampire stuff. And
And you got a good teen movie.
I will say that's the only part of these movies I don't like, is that it's weird how much Bella is into Edward. Like, all the trouble he goes through to try to get her to, like, hate him, and she's just, like, obsessed with him for some reason. That's the only part.
Can
And I mean, I can
verify.
kind of, that just,
That's what they're like.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what teenage
I was gonna say,
girls
yeah,
are
I was
like.
say that's the other thing. It's also like, well, we're teenagers. That's what they like. Oh, I saw he was so pretty. I'm into it and obsessed forever. Like, makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, you can kind of write that away as weird teenagers.
Yeah, it's well acknowledged that Bella is an English nerd and loves, like, Wuthering Heights and Romeo and Juliet. The first boy that she finds and falls in love with, she's going to act like that. You know?
That's a good point. Yeah, that makes sense.
And, Wuthering Heights is pretty much all about this total asshole being a romantic figure. And so a lot of Edward's darker moments probably aren't going to really strike her as that. Because of
that's
her
just
reading.
what she sees as romance. That is what romance to her, because she's a teenage girl that doesn't understand
it's just kind
that.
of old literature. Men aren't great, but romance is. Yay!
The whole time you were talking about that, I just kept thinking, poor Charlie.
Oh, yeah.
Poor Charlie.
Poor Charlie. Every time he's in the movie, everybody's just like, oh, Charlie.
Wasn't one of the drinking rules for the
Every
game
time
like,
Charlie looks
drink
deeply
if-
uncomfortable.
When Charlie's awkward.
and it was like every scene he was in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like the one was drink if Jacob is shirtless, and it's like I went through two bottles of Mike's Hard just on that alone.
Well, that was also in
that
like
was
the third
after
movie.
New Moon.
Which I will say, I think all three of the movies we watched so far, I think they're equally good. I like them all.
I've enjoyed
We
them.
need to finish those.
The next one is where it gets...
The next one
I
is
don't
filler.
know. The Breaking Dawn Part 1 is so cringy to me. Maybe it's because I watched the special effect one so much, because the fucking doll they use
That's
for
not part-
Bella is just...
For Bella?
It's creepy.
Oh, during that scene? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
scary. But, like, also
Yeah.
I kind of like that it's so scary.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bear, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say that I think that you guys are right that, like, about, like, kind of the, like, Bella's attitude towards Edward. Because, like, I think the thing about this movie that I liked was the fact that it's so sincere, right? And that, like, there's absolutely no cynicism. There's no, like, kind of wink to the audience that, no one's kind of like, oh, it's a little bit silly that we're in this movie. Like, everything is played completely straight. All, like, the big, crazy emotional arcs and, like, kind of unusual teenage behaviors, I guess, are all there. Which I think, like, it felt so, just true to life as a love story between vampires and werewolves to me. But I think
It's
that's
not
what I
a
like
Marvel
about
movie
it.
that,
So
we're having a serious scene, so we need to get a few jokes in there too.
Right, there's no
Yeah.
zingers, which is exhausting.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You
I
know.
think that's interesting.
Oh, can we talk about the baseball scene?
Baseball
Baseball
scene.
scene.
Actually, I wanted to mention
I
that.
wanted to talk about this.
It
It has no
is.
business being so good.
The actress who plays Alice, Ashley Green, actually took pitching practice from a Major
You
League
can
Baseball
tell
player that I
it's
can't remember the
beautiful.
name of. But she made
she does
an
really good
effort,
job.
and she looked amazing
did.
doing it. And I also love the fact that they have to wait for a thunderstorm to play because they.
Yeah, that's
but
so cool.
here's another
That's a
thing.
really
But
good
why
one.
don't they break their bats? If
That's
it's so
true.
loud
They're
that it
vampire
makes
bats.
that hard of a.
Bats. Were they wooden bats or were they aluminum?
I
I
can't
think
remember.
that they were aluminum. Yeah.
I think they were aluminum,
Fact
which are
check.
extremely durable.
I did want to. Sorry, my father came in and I had to tell him to go away while
Be gone, father.
gone, father, when Brad was speaking.
Oh yeah,
Aluminum,
those are aluminum bats. That's why.
Piggyback off of that because we know, like, the actors all thought it was ridiculous. They, like, yes,
Did they?
in the
Yeah.
commentary, they're all like, this is so bad.
What, the whole baseball scene?
Yeah.
No, like the whole movie.
Okay.
Yeah, every single one of the actors in that movie is like,
See,
no, I don't like
and I
the
still
job.
also stand by. I feel like the reason Robert Pattinson says he hates this is because
The
of
fans.
The
how
big
it-
ass fan base.
yeah how it is how all the fans and anti-fans that have affected how he
I've
feels
listened to
about
the
it.
commentary though, and they're like, the direction that they got was all very strange and weird, and they were weirded out and thought that the whole thing was dumb, but they did play it super sincere, which is kind of surprising for, like, not that Robert Pattinson,
Young
like,
actors.
wasn't he's a great actor, but that he gave it his all and was a great actor in Twilight to the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson broke up.
I mean, like, their relationship
they were together
was probably...
for what? For a couple years through the screening, and then they broke up, like, right before the last one.
She slept with the director on a different movie. Yeah.
Oof.
The Snow White and the Huntsman movie.
It is awful.
Movie.
Bad
but
movie.
Their relationship was probably for publicity, all things considered. Like, they probably were put together by the studio.
Yeah.
And I think that they actually get along now.
That's good. I would hope so.
Actually, I wanted to piggyback off something Andrea said. You said the girl who played Alice did pitching lessons. Susan Pattinson was cast. He actually moved to Oregon and, like, was working with trainers to be physically and mentally prepared for the role. And this means he had trainers helping him learn how to fight, play baseball, and do stunts. And he also had to get an Oregon driver's license.
But nobody to give him accent training.
Well, it was his very... Yeah, he was, like, that he was learning on his own. Yeah. This was his first American role. And
all things considered, he does well,
funny,
but
like,
there are quite a few times when he like, noticeably flubs.
Yeah. I love, like, we need to give him a trainer that teaches how to fight and play baseball. What about an accent coach? Nah, he doesn't need to worry about that.
He's the oldie. He can just speak with an accent. It's fine.
It's 1917.
That's...
Yeah, everyone knows they spoke a different language back then.
They all spoke with a British accent. That's why there's no CGI in this movie. All this fast running and climbing up trees was him because he was trained so well.
My god! That part, those look so bad.
They do look pretty bad, but I mean, you can't harsh an old movie for having bad effects.
It's not that old.
No, it was pretty bad for the time.
2008.
There were better. There was.
I'm pretty sure it came out around the same time as
they did Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
2001.
And Harry Potter Half-Blood Prince.
Didn't we say, wasn't there some point you guys were making something about, like, the reason they made them look like that?
Made them look green?
No, their effects, like the reason, because they were like...
Oh, it's probably because
to do with the wolves.
It's really hard. It's really hard to, like, make
something look
people
fast.
Running fast look authentic.
Yeah.
Because it always ends up in the Mad Max Fury Road effect. Because, like, if you try to do it when you increase the film speed, it just looks like Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Like, everything looks like so, like, herky-jerky and unnatural. And that's exactly what happened. So, you know, hey.
Oh, this is interesting. So the final four actors for Edward were Pattinson, someone named Shiloh Fernandez, who is in only 2 movies I've ever heard of, Ben Barnes, who is Prince Caspian in the Chronicle of Narnia movies, and the guy who plays Jasper.
I heard the actor who played Jasper refused when they asked him. But he's like, I'll play Jasper. I don't blame him either.
And yet
Jasper's
he accepted the role of Sokka in the last Airbender movie.
Yes, I avoided that point. I do like the fact, like, hey, we want you to be leading our movie, and you're like, nah, I don't want that.
I don't want the lead.
And it's funny because he makes
like,
the same
stressful,
face that he makes as Jasper, and it makes sense while he's Jasper because he's like, I'm not used to not drinking a bunch of humans' blood, and I'm not used to being around people, and I'm very uncomfortable right now.
I'm very uncomfortable.
With Sokka, he is acting it the exact same way.
That seems like it fits Sokka. I'm not used to people.
Yeah, but he's not funny.
Sokka's like
he never cracks.
That's true. He has to be. Yeah, you have to be awkward, but also
Yeah.
trying
Funny.
to make a joke so people
Yeah,
can laugh
he's like
at
a
you.
Edward
not with
Like what I do.
Scissorhands boy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on.
I did like Jasper. Like it, as Beck pointed out. Like yeah, it's very like I am uncomfortable. Like, and like I like that. Like I dug the freshly vegetarian vampire. Like
Yeah.
I'm not used to not drinking blood. This is awkward. There is food right there in front of me.
I've been
Why are you dating
subsisting
the
on
food?
tofu and
It's like
only
sticking
tofu.
a bowl of chips and salsa in the middle of the table.
Yeah. Why are you dating?
Like
the
I do
food?
like the scene where Bella cuts
Yeah.
herself, like in the residence, and like everyone's like, "Oh no!"
Oh no! Yeah, they all. Yeah, like so many of these scenes. Like I kind of is like, what the fuck is going on? But it's like, yeah, like Jasper and all that. They all really buy into it, and yeah, go all out with the.
There is some. I wish that they would they would mess around with the fact that they all have like special
Yeah.
powers.
They
I
do.
would like,
They
I'd like
do in the
more
last
about that.
movie.
They do.
The last
and
movie
the
is
last
pretty much
two.
only focused on that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I think that was really cool. Like how
Yes.
I think Jasper could affect moods.
Yes.
I like that. I like that Jasper can affect moods. Alice can see the future. Edward can read everyone's mind except for Bella's.
Actually, don't know what the rest of them
really-
do.
Yeah, I
They
didn't
don't.
realize
Yeah.
that they
The
didn't.
rest of them don't have abilities.
No.
Oh, okay.
You'd think that at least
That's, like, really
Carlisle.
rare
Well, Carlisle.
in
Having an
Having
Having
ability.
an
So-
ability is really rare.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why the Volturi wants to get.
Anyone that has an
And
ability.
It's
when
also
he
like the
collects them.
abilities
okay.
are
I didn't realize they
the
weren't reserved.
strongest part about you as a human just gets amplified when you're a vampire. So like a lot of them definitely have like a trait that was strongest and is now super strong. Like Emmett is insanely strong, like physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Carlisle is super compassionate. That is why he's the doctor and can
Yeah.
be around blood, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah, that makes
His
sense. Like,
insane self-control.
yeah, like he totally. He's just the rock for everybody, and I think that's something that's really cool. Is how they. I did
Dead
not expect.
vampire.
Yeah, I didn't expect this to be like a family movie. Like I fucking love the scene when she goes and meets their family, and they're all like, "Oh, hey Bella, come on in. It's weird. We finally get to use the kitchen.
They're
This
a
is
very
awesome.
cute
Like it's so
family
cute."
for her.
And like, yeah, and there's and the whole like. They don't worry so much about like the main antagonists and stuff. Like this really is this movie does a good job of like building things up and then like, oh yeah, there's
And
this
they
main
definitely
antagonist that
pepper
comes
it
in, but
in
like,
a way that like keeps you aware of it the whole time. But you don't really care.
Yeah,
until
like, I think
it
it's well done.
happens.
yeah, they don't worry about it making sure you know who the bad guy is. Like it's more focused on them, and then he comes in later when
Yeah, it's the last like 15 minutes.
yeah, and like there's a reason for him, not just to be a bad guy. He has to do that so that way Edward has to make the choice at the end of whether
Yeah.
or not he can control himself.
So every time I'm talking about like something casting wise, I keep bringing up Pattinson, but I wanted to bring up Bella, and two of the people who they had planned for her.
No idea.
One was Michelle Trachtenberg, which she was like, she's in a lot of movies like 17 Again, Ice Princess from Disney. She was Buffy's sister. You would recognize her if you saw her. She did a lot of younger roles, like
Georgina
Harriet the Spy.
Sparks. From Gossip Girl.
Did you say she's
Okay.
in Gossip Girl?
And I saved this one, Jennifer Lawrence,
Oh no.
which
love
I
Jennifer
think that would
Lawrence.
have
No, she
been
wouldn't-
phenomenal
She would
if
have not
got
Jennifer
too
Lawrence
much
other
played.
Bella.
No, she
Yeah.
wouldn't have.
Yeah.
She's too happy.
Well, no, she
I
did
th-
an amazing
I think that would have been
Katniss
funny
Everdeen.
because coming right off the heels of Twilight and going into the Hunger Games, like you'd have the teen romance, like young adult
Yeah.
fiction market locked down.
Yeah.
You said like alternate castings for Bella, and my brain was immediately blank. Like I could not picture anybody but Kirsten Stewart in the role.
Yeah, I mean, she does it.
Yeah, no, it's speaking of Bella,
She has a
Stephanie
little,
Meyer was going to name her firstborn
right
daughter Isabella or Bella. However, she's had 3 kids and they were all sons.
Guess
So,
she'll just have to go for
Just
Renesmee.
another little fact about Bella.
It's bad. It's a bad name.
It is a bad movie.
Another thing that showed up on Twilight Tumblr was people ragging on Renesmee's name, and when Renesmee eventually grows up into like a late teenager and stays there because she's a vampire, how she's going to be going to high school with her parents. And kids are going to be like, what the fuck is up with that name? And she's like, I don't know, my mom was on crack or something. And Bella's just like looking like, what?
Awful.
I do want to see that. That is very good. Yeah, so like I said, I'm mad about how good this movie is. Like, I legit think this is a really solid, like, not just, hey, this is better than I thought. I thought this was a really good movie.
I think that it is the best it could have been. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about it. I like the rating. I think it's really consistent, if nothing else.
It's a lot of people don't think it's a good movie, and they're kind of right. But they did everything right, just in ways that made the viewer kind of like, oh,
it's an enjoyable movie.
But
yeah, I would say. I mean, what do you mean? So do you just mean like in the fact that like I was saying, there's
they
parts
did
that seem
things
weird.
wrong, but on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's kind of comes with how you're looking at it. If you come looking at it, you like half pay attention, and you're like, oh, I didn't get it. It's like that's kind of on you. It's not like it wasn't clear that they were vampires, or like maybe it'd be weird at first, like with the Edward smelling her thing, like that. At first, that's weird. Once later, it's like I feel like it's supposed to be maybe a bigger reveal later on that he's a vampire. Like that might have been the only thing that kind of kills it, is that you don't go into this movie wondering what his deal is. You know what his deal is.
You've seen the commercial for Twilight. You know they're vampires.
Yeah.
I remember watching this the first time. My mom had picked it up at Blockbuster for movie night. It made all of us watch it. And my dad was like, that was not good. And my brother and sister were asleep. And my mom was like, this was the best movie ever. And I was like, it was fine. It wasn't until I read the books that I was like, okay, I really like this series. And then saw New Moon when it came out in theaters, and then saw Eclipse opening day and midnight showings for both the last ones. And I have always been a Twilight fan. I think I always will be, and the ending still makes me cry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I think it you have to know what you're getting into. You're getting into this romantic movie.
Yeah.
Not a rom-com like usually you'd be. Like, it's just straight up romance.
No, it's a
drama.
straight up romance.
Yeah.
If you describe like vaguely what the plot of Twilight is, like it's a teen romance about a girl who meets a vampire and falls in a love triangle with a werewolf. It sounds like a supernatural rom-com.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's kind of also the other point. Is just the only problem is just the bad rap it's gotten for no reason. I think like I don't really get why it's hated so much, other than because teenage girls like it.
I do get it. Like if I'm using like teenage mindset, I understand like why, because like it's effeminate and romantic.
Yeah.
But it's vampires and werewolves, and that's cool guy shit.
Just
and this ain't cool guy shit.
unadulterated teen girl romance fantasy. It is shameless.
Yeah, and I guess
in what it is.
And
it doesn't.
And a lot of
pull back on it.
A lot of teenage boys are like, but what about movies to my demographic?
I've never seen a movie I'd like.
For that demographic, it's usually like hush hush. You're supposed to be ashamed about it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
It sounds like Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Like all the adults who like Sailor
yeah.
Moon, they're all like, shh, don't. I don't actually like Sailor Moon,
Yeah.
but I actually love Sailor Moon.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like, oh, this is a silly teen girl romance. Like it's very sincere. Like we were all saying, like it doesn't try to be like right off as like, oh, isn't this kind of silly?
It is what it is, it is it honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, and I think it's well done. I think if that's what you're looking for, I think it's a really well written, well acted movie.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think I'm ready to call it good.
I enjoyed it. That's why I'm.
But I think there's something to like. And I think now that we have some distance, that we're 13 years on.
I think that helps.
I think I maybe worthwhile to return to, especially now that it's, as of the time of this recording, they're available on Netflix.
Yeah, that's true. There. Yeah, I'm going to make an official challenge. If you are, if you were a teenage boy when these movies are out, and you were one of those assholes shitting all over it, you have to go watch it with an open mind, and then come back and fucking tell me you didn't love it. All right, calling you out.
And maybe a woman.
I feel like we're winding down to the end of this episode. I would like to just throw in the worst 2 facts I found on the fact sheet of Twilight.
Oh boy.
All right.
All right. I'm just going to read them verbatim. In traditional vampire lore, vampires can transform into bats. In the Twilight films, Robert Pattinson plays a vampire who would go on to play a quote-unquote bat as Bruce Wayne. Batman.
His transformation is finally complete.
And this is more than half the people who read this page marked this as found interesting. This is the first film in the Twilight Saga series.
That's a fact.
It is a fact.
More of a fact than the first one.
Yeah, hot piece of trivia for you.
Neat little trivia. It's the first Twilight film.
One thing I want to throw in is it doesn't get into it much in this movie, the Edward versus Jacob fight at all. But as far as I'm concerned, we're only 3 movies in. I hear it gets worse. Jacob's the antagonist of this series.
Oh yeah, I'm Team Edward. If we're picking between those two, I don't even think it should be an argument. I think Jacob is the bad guy. I think he's the villain of the series.
When I first read these books, I was predisposed to liking Jacob a lot. So the entire time I was trying to like him so bad, and so I would always say, I was team, please stop butchering Jacob. I was team, I want him to deserve.
Is it better in the
I
book?
want him to be a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish he was written better.
And no, he's worse in the book.
Good.
Yeah. I would say it's pretty much the same, but you're...
Yeah, that's why I ratted on my sister.
Mm-hmm.
No, I ratted on my sister because she was so team Jacob, but she refused to read the books. And I was like, listen, if you even just, read this one paragraph, she tells him no, and he should stop right there. I don't care.
Think that
you don't...
that he's worse in the book.
That's horrible.
Because,
hate it. He's the bad guy.
Because we're in Bella's mind, and we can see, how she's feeling about it. And... watching it, it's deeply uncomfortable. You're kind of like, okay, let's cut this out. But being in the mind of the girl that it's happening to.
But imagine having to live through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very clear that she is at no point.
Yeah, she values him as a friend.
And maybe
she's trying to negotiate still being friends.
Yeah, and she values him as a mechanic so that she can get her thrill right, so she can see Edward again, which is...
Yeah.
She needed help.
Yeah, she needed help.
Womp womp.
But yeah. So what I'm saying is if you're Team Jacob, you're a bad person.
I think Team Jacob more went into not just Jacob and Bella being together. Mm-hmm. It was Team Jacob... werewolves. I like the werewolves.
Yeah,
this is why I like Team Jacob, because the wolves is what I like better than the vampires.
I do love the wolf bros.
I think it's hard to be Team Jacob after this movie because he's
not in it.
He's barely in it. He's in maybe 2 scenes.
Brad, you gotta come over so we can watch more of them because you get to see the wolf bros and they're all just cool guys that are werewolves and they're pretty dope.
Yeah, they are.
Cool. But taking just this movie alone,
Team Charlie.
Well, Team Charlie, but Team Edward.
Team Charlie, Team Alice.
Yeah. Alice is great.
Just knocking back Bud Lights and watching the Mariners.
And thinking about that damn bear.
There was a damn bear killing all these
my
people.
Friends.
Sucking
Have
that
our
wood.
bite marks.
All my friends are getting killed by bears. My daughter's dating a bear.
I was dating a bear, man. It's the worst.
Isn't he a twink though?
I mean,
That's true. That's true. He transforms.
Well, I'm glad that we picked this movie because I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah, same.
Like the other three movies, like I had an idea that how I would feel about them. But, like Twilight, I was completely unsure how I was going to feel going in, and I came out extremely pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I was absolutely convinced I'd come in and just be like, yeah, that was okay, not as bad as everyone makes, but not great. But yeah, I was definitely surprised to actually really like it.
yeah. So are we ready for our final verdicts?
Before we get there, I would like to just say, if we, due to changing schedules, the future of the show is kind of up in the air. We all want to keep doing it, it sounds like. So I'm hoping we can at least try to get an episode out every month. But no guarantees on that. But I would love to keep going because it's been a ton of fun making this for you guys. And I appreciate you guys kind of putting up with me bugging you all about it all the time. But it's been really cool to actually make something with all you guys and have something that we can show at the end.
It's been fun.
No,
I'd like to keep going.
Yes. Couldn't put it better myself.
Yeah. All right. So final verdicts. Right. Andrew, what do you think? Overrated, underrated? What do you, based on the general consensus of this movie?
For this movie, since I am original fan base, it's underrated.
Yeah.
I love this movie so much. I don't care. It might be bad to some people, but man, you can't take the original fangirl out of it. I'm just stuck.
I really appreciate just the wholehearted, honest response.
Yeah, I love it. As a new fangirl, I agree.
As a bit later of a fangirl than Andrea, but nonetheless one. Also, I agree, yeah. Underrated.
I as a moderate fangirl now, I also think it's underrated. It is. I am upset that I did not watch this sooner because I've constantly been told it was bad. Mm-hmm. Brad?
As a lover of all film, of cinema, the art of the moving picture, I feel confident in calling this underrated. I think, like I said, there's definitely something to like here.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Cool. So
I got made fun of in high school for nothing. Great.
Yeah, sorry.
Who are you hanging out with?
Andrea, isn't that everything?
Yeah. All the
That's
choir
high school.
kids.
We all get made
None of the choir kids like the freaking Twilight saga.
Everybody I knew in choir did. Okay, that's a lie. It was drama club. They were different people.
Yeah, I was about to say choir and drama was not the same.
Yeah. So yeah, it has been decided that they were all wrong. You were in the right the whole time, Andrew. Congratulations.
We're the ones who do the final verdict on that.
Mm-hmm.
They called us in.
Final verdict. Yep. Made the call.
It's true.
So congratulations. You've come out innocent. Well, it was fun having you on, Andrew. I'm really glad you got to join us.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Yes, it was really good. All right, well, with that, I'm Vaughn.
I'm back.
I'm Danny.
I'm Brad.
And this has been the Over Under Hype Machine, and we hope to see you sometime in the near future.
Eventually.
It's up in the air. Someday I'll have an interesting tenet for you.
Fuck you.
Bye, Mom.
And that's it. That's the cut.
Underrated.